Ted Williams. So yes, Sears started up their Ted Williams line of sporting goods starting in 1961. J.C. Higgins had long since retired, recently had passed away. Sears decided to move on with a new sponsor, a new name. But they stuck with some of the same manufacturing. And this one's a little surprising. And of course, we got a cool patent to go along with it. Let's check it out. Serp Garage, Ted Williams, model 34. J.C. Higgins line of rifles and sporting goods was discontinued 1961. They moved on with a new name. Ted Williams, famous baseball player, interesting character. Any 22 long or long rifle or 22 shorts, high speed only. This isn't something we see all the time. Usually I'm telling you to stick with the lower powered 22 ammo for these things, but this thing is requesting. It's requesting high speed ammo, and it is not fooling around. Sears Roebuck and Company, model 34. 583.3403, Sears, Ted Williams, and there's a patent. We're going to be taking a look at that. Go ahead. You want to get on an iPad and start looking it up? Go ahead. Pull it up so when we get there, we're checking it out together. What do we got here? No serial number, so it's pre-68. We're going to get into a little dating stuff with it. We're going to figure out what's going on. So, 22 short, long rifle, high power only. 17 long rifles fit in here. 17. We got a magazine tube as long as the barrel. This is a carbine version. You can see by the barrel band, the sling swivels. The barrel is as long as the magazine tube. The rifle versions were 583-3400, 583-3401, and 583-3402. These, I'll throw up some pictures. They're interesting. They have a lot of wood all over them. A lot of weird-looking stocks. These were all rifles from the research that I've done. It's only the 3403 that was the carbine version. Now, this might look familiar to you for a couple of reasons. I'm going to tell you where it came from. And then I'm going to tell you a lot of the misconceptions about where this Ted Williams Model 34 originated, like what it actually is. It is a high standard, same as our, what was it again? I got to pull it up over here so I don't make a mistake. It's the J.C. Higgins Model 28. We just did that video a few videos back. That's the 583.71. That was a 1951. All right, they only made that one in 51 and 52, the Model 28. Similar to the Model 30, but it is a 28. That one, the same 17 rounds. That was a 24-inch barrel. This is a 21-inch barrel. This is the carbine version. You could say that the Model 28 is similar, the same as the rifle version. That one is a little weird. It was based on like a Remington patent, kind of convoluted. But you had Humiston of the M1 carbine fame was the designer. He had a bunch of patents. We're going to take a look at those too. I think some of them carry over to here. And, aluminum receiver, high standard manufactured them. And this one is frequently confused, though, for a different rifle. And that's even what turned me on to this one, believe it or not. I originally actually came into ownership of this because of this discrepancy. Now check this out. Somebody sent me a message on my Winchester 190 video, and they were like, yeah, I saw one of these. I was just at a gun store. It's so strange. I saw one. It was a Ted Williams Model 37. That's what this guy said, a 37, right? So I'm like, really? I didn't know that the Winchester 190 had that. I just looked it up to see what he was talking about. There was no Ted Williams Model 37, but Ted Williams Model 34 popped up. And I said, no, that can't be it, because the difference between, here, let me get the 190 up here on the table, which, you know, I'm not saying they're not similar. Here's the 190. You know, and again, if you just went there, the same exact length, same exact, I mean, they have that same look to them. I will agree. I mean, I guess all these rifles look the same. But the English style stock here is kind of interesting. There's no pistol grip, but it was this cutout in the receiver for the bolt handle. I was like, the 190 doesn't have that. It just has a bolt handle on the bolt. You could even press it in to lock it open. You know, like this just looked so different. Like it can't possibly be the same. Doing a little research, I found that the Ted Williams model that was the 190 was actually called the 3T. And I think that's why this viewer thought that 3T was confused that for a 37. He saw a 37. So that answered all of that. I'm like, no, it's a Model 3T is the Ted Williams version of the 190. So then, boom, the Winchester 190 was out of the picture. But then I was just still left with this guy. Like, well, that is an interesting one, especially because there's like this carbine version of it, and it comes with this sling. I looked at it, I thought it was kind of cool, and then just moved on, literally. So he's saying that it was kind of weird that I'm doing a video and he's seeing it in the store. Well, guess what? It was only a couple of days later that I saw one of these, and I said, there's that 22 from High Standard. It wasn't a Winchester, it was a High Standard, and it had that cutout behind the bolt. Let me check that out. And of course, it's only like $100, just over $100. I'm like, yeah, all right, well, I'll take it. Then I actually end up with this thing. So that's how that happened, because of a discrepancy over what rifle actually, which Ted Williams rifle was actually the Winchester 190. Just put this one in my head, where when I saw it, I thought it would have been cool to just grab it for that reason. Patent number 3018577 to P.A. LaViolette Jr. What was that for? On a rifle like this, we have a patent. I'll tell you, what do you see? I can tell you there's something we see weird right away. I'm going to give you a look down the whole rifle. Tell me what it is that you see weird that could potentially have been patented. I mean, everything looks pretty normal here. You know, we got a butt plate, we got sling swivels, a sling, stock, trigger guard, safety, takedown pin, bolt handle, bolt, nothing weird yet. Regular sight, regular wood, barrel band, sling swivel. What could it possibly be that looks weird? Looks like this loading tube is a little off. I turn it upside down, I don't even see the loading port. It's almost buried up underneath the barrel. Should get in there and turn that, try to fix it, right? Wrong! That's the patent. If anybody would have gotten one of these and thought, I wonder if anybody had done that, go in there and tried to rotate this or tighten it, adjusting it, thinking that this was off. This is the patent. While we're here, let's bust it out. Let's just get to the patent right away. Here it is. It is for a tubular magazine firearm with loading port in the side of magazine. This was filed October 20th, 1959, and granted January 30th, 1962. And here's the text on it. Basically what he's saying is, instead of it just having to be on the bottom, let's bust out the realistic snap caps. Which, by the way, yeah, these things, man, are they taking some abuse? Look, after all this time, so Told you on the last time I did have a separation of a round due to a gun that was I was testing where it got stuck in the bore due to a dirty bore, and I had to pull it out, and it left the case head behind. Which, could you imagine having to beat the crap out of a live round doing that, or worrying about some plastic one that's stuck in there or something like that? My other 9 are still viable and doing okay, but I wanted to show you. See the projectile that he uses, in quotes, projectile. It's not using like a regular. See how this is actually manufactured as a snap cap. This base like that, it's like to bond in here really well. It literally separated the brass, pulling it out. And that's how it is. I could always, this is just regular brass. And I suppose I could take a, like some unfired like this, one that's been hit and didn't go off, so it's inert, or wash one out and just use a case and probably put it back on. But come on, the things, buy a set of 10 of them for a few dollars is a little bit easier. But yeah, but these are realistic snap caps. If you're interested, I highly recommend using these inert rounds to do any of this type of testing. And check out their website, and you get 10% off for going there and mentioning Milsurp Garage in the coupon code box, MILSURPGARAGE. What did the patent cover? It covered dropping the rounds like this in between the barrel and the magazine tube. And if you're at the right angle, they just go right in. As you can see, that was his patent. Pretty cool, right? 17 of them. And that, by being able to load it that way, was his patent. Boom. Now, another one of his patents is that right there. This particular type of loading was it Humiston? One of his patents. Let's take a look at that one. So maybe we could look at one of these, like going on slow-mo, see what that one is. That was the magazine throat for firearms. This was back from the 28, and this is this rocking motion here to this lifter. This is his patent. It's in this gun as well. And that's a very, very detailed patent, this one. Very, very detailed. This is a complex mechanism. Maybe we could even get in there. We could get in there and check it out. Give you a little look at it. But basically, has the round popping up like that. And then you see how it switches over to put the base of the bullet in the bolt. So the front will poke up like this, so it could be picked up into the chamber. And then it kind of like rocks to the side. Let's check out the 28. This is the high standard made 28. This is how we can tell, even though the 28 does have the bolt handle over here, if we remember. We could still, let's take a look in there, see what that looks like. Just familiarize yourself with that, the part there on top, that guide there in the middle. There's the lifter poking up like a shark's tooth. That's the 28, and in the 34, get that part up on top, the guide right there. There's the shark tooth poking up. Same design. It's newer manufacture. Things might have changed a little bit the way they do it, but it is the same exact design. And what other patents do we have here? Do we have by him? We had a couple more. I'm not sure if anything was pertinent. No, because this was the the scope base, which is not on, that was on the 28, not on this one. This is for the sear, and I'm pretty sure this is the same sear. I'm pretty sure it is the same. So that patent is getting used. Then there's a cartridge stop. This was mostly for, I think, for the high standard shotguns. It is a high standard patent. And this is the buffer, right? And I don't think either of these rifles had a buffer. Not sure where Humiston invented that one for, but I don't think it was for this rifle. But let me see, what do I got here? Do I have a let's get in there. Sorry, I don't have this ready. I get this. You don't really need, this is an easy, very gentle pin to push out. I don't even know if I need the hammer. I'd actually be able to just push. No. Let's see. We'll raise it up a little bit. I want to use my block, my bench block. It's not necessary because it's literally just the lightest of taps to get that out. So we'll just use an eraser. And with the pin out, pull the bolt all the way back and the trigger group will drop right out. And that's where I should have pulled the magazine a little bit forward, but I just did. Everything's fine. So here it is. Here's this cartridge feeding. So that's where we're coming right out of the tube. All right, let's zoom a little bit. So yeah, this is where we're coming right out of the tube. And the rounds are getting fed in here. And it's this motion right here. Check this out. This back and forth here, rocking motion is what I think I need something to, hold on, sorry. I need something to push that back down. But yeah, that's the pattern right here, this rocking motion. And the bolt, bottom of the bolt, has keyways here to control what's going on back here, depending on where the bolt moves. You can see how it lifts up the round, and then when it comes forward and this pushes down, this part, it locates it. Interesting. It's it's a fail-safe loading mechanism. It really is. It works really good. But I'll tell you right now, it is true. And then here inside, it's a little bit different than the 28. Is here we have well, this kind of Ruger 1022-ish. We have the bolt right here. And when we push back all the way, get our finger in here and lift up, we can lift the whole bolt out. But it's a little dicey. I just don't want to take a lot of time up. It's a little dicey to get this spring in right. You really got to work well to make sure it doesn't get kinked or bound. And the bolt handle will just fall right out when you lift the bolt up, and you just put the bolt back in right on the bolt handle, which is a little bit different than its sister here, the 28. Because in the 28, if you went in here, it's the same thing. You could even see when they're together that the trigger guards look identical. But when you're in here, there is no spring back here. The bolt just rides in the channel without a spring, because the spring, if you remember, take a look at the Model 28 video, we took the wood off and the spring is up here, is where the action spring is. So definitely a different design. High standard, kind of tightened everything up, simplified everything. And that's where we got the 34. Let's see if this is nice and makes me look competent by going right back in. So what I like to do is get it in place first. Upside down is fine, working completely upside down. And yeah, it did. It made me look good. And then we got to go in from this side, because there's going to be, see, it's wider there, and the pin has a flare. So we got to make sure where that flare is where the pin goes. And that's it. So yeah, so what else do we got here? This one's pretty cut and dried, but we do have a little bit more information. Let's see. So the 34 carbine, it was made from 63 through early 67. Where do I get this? There's this guy. I don't have his name, but I don't know if I should use his name. I don't even know if he's still with us. This stuff is from the internet, and it's very old. Here's his name. I'll put his name up. It says John J. Stimson Jr. This guy was like sorry, I don't know if this guy's, I'm not saying this guy's gone, but this was a long time ago, and his website is gone, down. So He had a website where he cataloged and had a huge registry of high standard guns, mostly their pistols that were branded by themselves, you know. But he has some cool stuff online, like this timeline. Here's Sears 22 rifles made by High Standard Manufacturing Corp. Where would you find? Thank God there's information like this. I mean, this is exactly what we need. Let me get a pointer. Get another dirty dowel stick. Those are my pointers. So here's the 34 carbine, the yellow line that I highlighted here. And as you can see, it is the last of the 22 rifles made by High Standard for Sears. It started as the last right here in mid '63, and it ended as the last one made. It's the last one that they started and the last one that they finished in early 1967. So how did I date this? If I'm just within those years. Well, here's how I did it. I did it because there are date codes. Here's like something that I pulled up online. Here's just a piece of it. There's just a ton of these date codes. And here's what I did. I just did an estimate because I see an H on here. And here's a picture. I could show you on the rifle, but it's just easier to show you a picture. And that date code is actually, it's right over here. I could turn around. I guess I could zoom in on it here. Maybe you'd actually even be able to see it even a little bit better. Here you see exactly what I'm looking at. So that's what I'm looking at. I definitely see an H. And then it looks like, I don't know what that could be. A backwards 3R, who knows? I don't know. It's unreadable. It's an unreadable stamp. But there is definitely an H in it. Now, if you look at this list, if that's definitely an H, odds are, what are the odds if you just look at this? I'm not saying it's definite, but odds are it's a 64, just because of all the H's in the 64, right? So that's what I went for. I just said that's what I'm estimating it at, making an educated guess because of that stamped H. And it's amazing how commonly this is confused for the Winchester 190. I have material all here, papers. I'm not even going to bother showing it all to you. Just you're poking around and you do your research, you'll see. Here's a list of Sears rimfire rifle manuals that John Stimson put out. And these links still work. Unfortunately, here you could see they're all listed here, 3400, 01, 02, 03. And only the factory reference book is here, unfortunately, where they have owner's manuals all the way down here for some reason. He does not have the owner's manual posted for the 34. So I wasn't able to get that, but I did get this parts list here, which is kind of cool. And on the parts list this is for 3400. So you can see for 3400, this is what it looks like with this. The wood that goes all the way up the side. And this is definitely the rifle. See how much longer the barrel is than the magazine tube. This is what the rifles look like. They had wood that looked like this that went up along the side. Kind of cool, but I do like the carbine version. Honestly, I do. So this is the high standard, the breakdown of the high standard. So here's the 583-71. It's both the Model 28 and the Model 30 came afterwards, the year after. So the Model 28 was only 50. Was it 51 and 52, I think, just for those 2 years. And then here's a whole breakdown of who manufactured what. So, yeah, we have the high standard 583-71. Now down over here, 583-3403, listed as the M34. Yep. And Hoosier Gunworks has it in there. And some of my other crazy research. That's about it. What else did we have? I had one other thing. What was it? I can't remember now. I had the, so we have the dating. We had the book. And I had that. Oh, the dating. Yeah, there's one other thing I wanted to show. Look, check this out. look at how early the 28 was. The 28 was way back here, not quite the first. It looks like 30 actually came out first in 50. Then the 28 followed up in 51. But you could consider it, since they're kind of like the same rifle, you can consider the 28 like the first one, 1951, way back here. And this one, this Ted Williams Model 34, is way up here as the last one. So it's kind of like what you're looking at right here is kind of like the first and the last guns produced by High Standard for Sears. One is a J.C. Higgins model, one as a Ted Williams model. Pretty cool, right? So, yeah, that's where I ended up with this one, 1964. So how does it shoot? I'll tell you how it shoots. Here we go. It shoots okay with middle ground power 22s. It shoots horribly with anything that's standard velocity, low velocity. And it really shines with some high-powered stuff. The snappier the ammo, the snappier this gun was. That's the bottom line. It loves the high-powered ammo, but it was racking that bolt back against the receiver. I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. It's designed to take it. It is an aluminum receiver. They're strong. These aluminum guns are strong. They're not weak because they're aluminum. But, you know, aluminum can gall a little bit easier than steel can, especially when it's a steel bolt riding in an aluminum receiver. But, I mean, so far so good. It is what it is. For as long as it lasts, if all it lasts on is the high-powered stuff, that's it. And here, once again, you can see by looking at the bottoms that these are definitely, you know, the same. You can see these just by this reliefs here, same reliefs here. It's amazing how these things, how High Standard kind of just evolved this design. And looking inside each of them is interesting. I don't want to get too crazy. I mean, I just recently had this open, but the thing with these pins is, you know, every time you punch these out, they go back in a little bit looser every single time. And this older one, I don't want to mess with too much, but trust me, they are so simple. The bolts just pop out, and I was looking at them to see if the bolts actually interchanged, and I don't think they do. I think the bolts are different. I think they're very, very close, but I think they're different. And that's what I wanted to take a look at. So it was just an evolution of the design where it's interesting to compare the two. You know, if you have the ability to take a look at both of these and take them apart, it would be pretty interesting to check out the little idiosyncrasies. And yeah, the 583-3403, the carbine version. So even if we get out our Numrich parts catalog here, which just has every single gun possible, they are in here. They list it as a High Standard Model 34, which you're going to hear that out there. Don't argue with those people. Don't say like there's no such thing. High Standard didn't make a High Standard Model 34. They made it exclusively for Sears. And it wasn't even a J.C. Higgins model at that point. It was a Ted Williams model at that point. Even that is off a little bit, whatever. But with these things, we'll just keep these things to ourselves, because these are like little nitpicky points. If somebody asks what it is, you don't even have to say Ted Williams Model 34 if you don't want to, because you'll just see the furrowed brow and the confusion. Just say it's a High Standard 22. That's all you got to say. It's a High Standard 22. It was made for Sears as the Model 34. That's what I would say. I would just tell them it's a High Standard. People get it when you say it's a High Standard. Look at the sling down here. It's the sling. You know, I know. Look over here. This is real deal. This is the sling that comes on. You see how there's like a snap? Normally you wouldn't see that on a sling, right? It's a way to identify it. Well, yeah, that snap is here. There it is. This is the original sling that came on this thing. This thing was very, very clean. Obviously, when I got it, it looked like the guy might have tried to put a scope on it, then took it off. There's a couple of marks on the scopeable rail up here, the dovetail. There's a couple of little nicks here, see them? So I think he might have had a scope on it or tried it at one time. Didn't get it with a scope, but I might try it out with one too. But like, here's the thing with it: incredibly accurate, just like the 28 was, super accurate. It makes me think that high standard guns. I do not have a high standard pistol. I was just looking at one just recently. It said it was a GEA or something like that. I got to do a little bit of research on it. It was $1,000. And then I don't even think, I think there was another magazine next to it, and it said like $50 for the magazine. So I think you have to pay an extra $50 for the extra mag. And that's why I walked away when I saw that in the store. I was, the gun store. I was like, come on, for $1,000 you could throw in the other mag. But I don't know. Maybe he's like, no, that is. If you buy it, I'll give you the other mag. I don't know. I didn't ask him. I just took a few pictures and was doing research on it. It looks kind of cool, but I don't know. I'll let you know. I'll keep you informed. But that's it. Yeah, we'll just we're at half an hour. We like to keep some of these at half an hour, and let's just do it. There's the Ted Williams Model 34, a snappy 22 where you could use stingers, you could use your punch rounds, you could go crazy. You got high capacity, 17 rounds in here, nice, and a nice tight compact design, light. And it's their throwaway. I mean, if you use it for a bunch of years and you really just tear this thing apart, it's like, it's not like it's a even several $100 22. These things are like a buck and change. I'm picking them up for a buck and change. And that's the story. I'll see you all real soon. I got the next one is going to be real cool. We're going to move back to, we're going to do a shotgun. We're going to do a shotgun next, and it was a pretty awesome find. You're going to dig it. Stay tuned. Thanks for all the new subs, new viewers. Love to have you. Stick around. Hit that bell. Get notified of my new videos. Comment. And come on, let's get this summer going.